Hello and welcome to the Nottingham Hockey Centre, where it's game day again in the Men's Hockey League, and we've got a top of the table clash for you with Beeston currently holding on to fourth position, taking on Kent's Holcombe, who are 2 points and one league position ahead of the Bees. Well, as this will be the last of our televised home matches before Christmas, Steve Musson, who joins me once again in the Chapel commentary box, and the whole BTV crew here would like to wish you all a very happy Christmas. Well, if John Lewis can do it, so can BTV. So two sides eager for points today to see them make a top four place just a little bit more secure. Beeston could only draw with Reading last week and must see that as 2 points dropped. But their opponents today were unpicked by a rampant Surbiton, losing by the massive scoreline of 6-1, having taken the lead. 4 goals for Alan Forsyth in that one, who took his tally on to 16 goals, 4 more than Holcombe's Nick Bandurak, who is once again in great scoring form and surely must be in for international contention at some point. With Beeston missing Adam Dixon and Mark Leghorn on England duty, and Holcombe without the services of Barry Middleton and former Bees goalkeeper George Pinner, also with the national team, the two are well matched, but I do wonder how much that Surbiton result of last week will have taken out of Holcombe and shaken their confidence. Well, as I said to you, sitting alongside me, Steve Musson. Steve, another glorious day for hockey.
Yes.
Two good sides for us to enjoy.
I think that's right. It's a lovely afternoon, perfect for the game, and I would expect this to be quite a match today. I think both sides have got a little bit to prove after last week. I know that the feedback during the week from the Beeston camp was firstly one of disappointment at not having been able to score more than the one goal, particularly bearing in mind that they'd been in the Reading D 31 times. And then after that, it was a case of sort of picking apart where the errors lie. So they've been trying to tidy up some of the issues from last week, and they'll hope for a much better performance today.
I'm sure a similar post-mortem would have been held by Holcombe as well after that very heavy defeat at the hands of the old rivals of Surbiton. Today, though, another day starts at 0-0. We're about 15 minutes away from the start of this one, and a chance for us to look back at some of the highlights.
Beeston hosted Reading in a battle between two sides who are eyeing up the playoff positions. Let's join BTV for the action on this one.
Sideline ball using a very well judged aerial right to the far side of the circle. First real attack this, and a good save there.
It's a big surprise to everybody that he did score, but he was very pleased to have done it anyway.
But you'll take it.
Yes.
Absolutely. That's a lovely run. Not him this time though. Shot comes in. A left-hand cast as we look down at them. It's gone to the
quick injection.
Is he a shouter?
Not normally. That's why I've just noticed.
Well,
it
has more impact.
Normally
if you're always shouting, I never think it has
prowls.
much of an impact, does
right.
it? Now this is more like it for Beeston, now the left-hand side. Ball pulled across and straight through, and it's found a way back into the net, and Beeston have the lead.
Again.
Running a little short on numbers
there.
there.
Very good, very good.
Again, there's that late adjustment, but it has come for high ball this time. Whips it in, and the defender
Rearward corner
puts it away, but rear-warded corner. Different routine this time, making space for the shots, and again it's fired wide. Scoreline probably a reasonable reflection of what we've seen, Steve.
I think it is, but as ever with these situations, these little moments, and here we goes another one.
This is better for Reading here.
Very close.
Beeston taking it quickly into the circle. Shot comes in.
Good
Good
shot, Chris Proctor.
Good save there by Chris Wyver.
Useful ball, nice position for Ollie Willars.
Willars just spins, tries to take the ball into the circle, but crowded out there.
Wasn't going to get much success with that.
He didn't look convinced in his own mind it was going to work for him, did he? Reading just starting to show a little more intent themselves.
That's right. This is going to be.
Lovely
This will
quick
happen
hands.
for the next 10 minutes. I'm sure of it. There we go.
Oh, well, you called it, Steve.
Yeah, this has been building.
Well, what a sucker punch there. And this is now going to be a huge last 10 minutes for Beeston. Lovely approach work there coming from Lee Morton.
Good goal. Very good goal.
It's in the slot for Hybel. He pulls it back. Oh, good save by the goalkeeper. And it's gone high in the air. It'll be a long corner.
And that's time.
And that is the end of the game. The team's shaking hands down there. They've played out a draw between them. Beeston with the early advantage through Elliot Hybel's goal. Scored 10 minutes before half time. And then in a similar position, a little later perhaps in the second half, it was Max Heaver coming in to equalise for Reading.
When you succeed,
We succeed.
So we listen.
We tailor. And we invest in you.
We are innovators.
We deliver results.
And world-class service.
We are always developing.
Learning and growing.
And getting better at what we do.
Supporting your business.
we make technology effortless.
And more than just a means to an end.
We're the team who serve.
And advise you.
All to help you achieve.
And surpass your goals.
We're super.
We're honest.
And go the extra mile.
We're winners.
And team players.
And together,
We're the managed service provider.
We're Air IT.
We're Air IT.
we're Air IT.
You're number one for IT and comms.
Well, certainly the Bees will be hoping to be a little more clinical in their opponent's circle, and they showed themselves to be in those highlights from last week, Steve. Disappointing result.
I think that's right. I think that so much of the good work that Beeston have done in the early games, particularly with the youngsters and the progressive style of hockey, caught them out a bit last week because what they didn't do was adapt to a set of circumstances in the game where they need to play slightly differently. I think at 1-0. With only 10 minutes to go, you've got to try and think about how you defend, and they certainly got caught out playing too much attacking hockey at that point and didn't adapt, I think.
Yes, and for me, I was thinking about the game only this morning, actually. Shows you what a sad person I am. Thinking back, they were just a little bit flat, lacked a little bit of the intensity you normally associate with Beeston teams, particularly at home.
I think that's right. I don't know quite why that happened. The only thing that was hugely different really was the loss of Robbie Gleeson at centre midfield, who has made quite a difference. It didn't allow them the same sort of an outlet that they've been using through the middle of the park, and I think they got a bit predictable really. When we had a chance to look back at the game afterwards, the back four transfer work that the lads did was a bit predictable for Reading, and they were able to press quite easily because they knew how the passing was going to go for Beeston. And on the forward line, the lads in the D didn't move enough to create space to get that second goal.
And at the other end, of course, they're going to have to be very careful of the free-scoring Nick Bandurak, who scores goals for fun. And again, this season he's setting the world alight with some great goals. And clearly the man to watch out for in the colours of Holcombe. One bit of team news. Steve was telling me before the game, Elliot Hybel's missing, Steve.
Yes, the unfortunate Elliot Hybel, another dreaded injury. He was playing for Nottingham Trent University against Sheffield on Wednesday, and he's torn his hamstring, so he's going to be out until after Christmas now. So
he's been quite a talisman for Beeston in terms of scoring goals, and a very useful performer at the penalty corners in the absence of Mark Gleghorn as well. So Bees forced into changes, but they'll be pleased to see Robbie Gleeson coming back. We're not sure how fit Gleeson is, but hopefully we'll be able to make some sort of impact.
Yes, I think so. He's I gather he's been training this week, and that's gone okay. I think the physio's signed him fit to play, so hopefully he'll be all right today.
Well, Buzz the Bee is out there on the pitch enjoying another glorious October day here. It really is very, very special day. Won't be too many more of these as we approach the winter break. We must enjoy it while it lasts. So there's Buzz down there, proudly wearing the number 1 shirt. Don't expect him to get on the field again today, but a real crowd pleaser. They did offer me the job of Buzz the Bee, but I don't think I would have squeezed into the costume.
Oh, you got the Buzz the Bee offered. I was the car park attendant. So.
Well, it's a wonderfully run club, this one. So many people doing fantastic jobs. And they do seem to have the way of making everybody feel very welcome here. Yeah. Club to be proud of. Our 2 match umpires today, Nick Bennett and Dave Munger. And the tournament, or the match delegate today, Christine O'Donovan. Special shout out for Christine, who's been one of England hockey's great stalwarts over many, many years. And not just at this elite level of club hockey, but also right the way through the age group teams as well. Very hard working star behind the scenes. So the scene is set down there, the 2 match umpires resplendent in blue. And the 2 sides ready to walk out behind the umpires. That's just going along and low-fiving the Beeston players. He would offer them words of encouragement, but I gather it's not the done thing for mascots to talk at all.
No, that's right.
It's a shame. It's a shame. I'm sure you have much to impart. So big game, this one. The fact that both sides are missing key players has got to be pushed very much to the back of minds. And 3 points for either of these sides today would make a huge difference to them.
Let's hear it for the hosts. Your Beeston Hockey Club!
So Beeston playing in the black tops, and of course Holcombe in the red and white alongside them. They've had a long journey, 3 hours plus, coming up from Kent this morning.
Yes, I do think this one is quite finely balanced. I was looking at the goal scores between Beeston and Holcombe, and it's absolutely identical. 15 field goals each, 4 penalty corner goals each, and 1 penalty stroke each. So total of 20 goals for each of the teams. As you mentioned, Nick Banderak is definitely a threat, and somebody is going to have to keep an eye on him throughout the whole of the game, I think.
They will, and I'm looking forward very much to seeing just how he plays in this Holcombe team. We've lost twice already this season. They went down by the only goal of the game to East Grinstead, and of course that game last week.
15, Quentin Lemaire. 16, sponsored by
We're hearing some team news from the Holcombe camp as well that Jack Pogson is out injured.
Richard Lawrence.
So both sides with problems in the fitness department, hardly surprising in such a gruelling season as this. And as Steve was saying, in the case of Elliot Hybel, it wasn't actually club duty that Elliot got his injury in, but playing for his university, the Nottingham Trent University.
Where he's also been scoring goals and has had a good season, so he'd be very disappointed to have picked up another injury.
Yes, he will. The winter break can't come too soon, perhaps, for Elliot.
That's right.
Daniel Webster.
One more game before that break to come for the sides next weekend. Beeston will be away in that one, away to Surbiton.
That's the dreaded tour down south for Beeston, Nick, the one we've struggled with for the last 5 years.
Yes, well, it's important they don't concentrate too much on that one, and 3 points a day would put them in good heart for that, as you say, that long journey down to Surbiton, and a traditional graveyard for the Bees, and a few other sides as well in the form that Surbiton have been on in recent times. Well, we're almost underway here. If you weren't able to get up early on this morning, you might not have heard that Great Britain's women's team lost out to Australia by 2-0 over in the Champions Trophy. Long shadows being cast. Any predictions coming your way, Steve?
Well, I think the first, I always look at the phases of games really, and the first 5 minutes will tell us I think which side is into their passing game quickest. As I've mentioned, you're always sort of worried when there's somebody who does score as freely as Nick Mandarak has been doing. So that's important. And then where do Beeston go with their corners? Richard Lawrence and James Sutcliffe will be used there, I think. But I'm just keen to see Beeston get into their rhythm early with the passing.
First free hit of the game taken quickly by Beeston. They'll be aware their opponents have had a long journey up through the motorway system this morning. And although they arrived in good time, there might still be a little bit of that in the legs.
There is a definite effect from these from the journeys, I think. I think one of the reasons Robbie Gleeson felt that he'd hurt his back was a trip down to Wimbledon, sat in a car, they ended up sitting in the car for 4.5, 5 hours, and it was after that that he pulled up with a stiff back. It's kept him out for a week.
Where did they go? Via Scotland?
They got stuck in traffic.
Oh, okay. Well, that can happen, of course. Beeston quickly onto the front foot in these opening exchanges here. They certainly want to have a more committed performance they put together last week. Steve was telling us about their team meeting in midweek, and plenty of words from Stephen Wood about that, but I'm sure the players will know that they just weren't on top of their game today. No, another day altogether.
I think already we can see the effect of Robbie Gleeson in the middle of the park. There's a lot more ball in and out of the centre midfield position. Gives more options.
Free hit here for Holcombe, taken quickly into a crowded midfield. Easily picked off by the Bees. Just too far ahead there. Richard Lawrence, those long strides. Found the ball running away from him.
I think Robbie thought that had hit a Holcombe player, but just need to get on with it. Stephen Lawrence very key to the Beeston defence. If he's on form, he organises people around him very well, and that makes a difference. A little bit off his own game last week, I think.
Well, he'll be delighted, of course, to have Gleeson back in the engine room for the Bees.
The connections between your back four and the midfield are absolutely vital. The movement that the midfield provide allows outlets, makes the defensive players feel a lot more confident if that motion's there and the players in there are busy.
Gleeson's the sort of player that sometimes you can miss in a game.
Yes.
But when you take him out of the scenario, you realise how much work he gets.
That's right, yeah.
The glue that holds it all together. It's always the goal scorers and the last line of defence sometimes who get all the plaudits, but the people who actually make the engine run are the real stars of the show.
And it was interesting last week, I think, Nick, as well. The two lads coming back. Just see what happens here.
Strong run into the circle. Yeah. Beeston just leaning a little bit there on Harry Trussler as he ran powerfully in, but umpire not seeing any need to blow. Trussler again. Good fast hands, but running into heavy traffic.
Harry is a former Beeston player. Spent a few years at the club here.
Robbins feeds one forward, but well cut out again by the Bees. Nice bit of skill on the ball.
Good energy to the game already, Nick, I think, unlike last week.
I think from a coach or a management point of view, it must be very frustrating because when you don't know which team is going to turn out for you, there's nothing more frustrating.
Yes.
But you usually establish it within the first 10 minutes or so, what the mindset is, whether players are at it or they're not quite there. At the moment, both sides to be firmly on their game.
Need to get set early here, Beeston.
Lovely work. Last ditch challenge coming in there. That was Anton Varela there, making a clever little run into the circle.
So I think he certainly played up to under 21 level, Anton, didn't he? It's in Spain. I'm not sure whether he's played senior
Clearly
level.
a useful performer. Holcombe just having a little patch here, forcing the Bees back into defence. Real scramble for the ball over by that corner flag. Good work there from Robert Field. Scored 3 goals for Holcombe already this season. Nick Bandrak currently on 12, 9 of which have been field goals, to which he can add a couple of penalty corners and a penalty stroke for good measure as well. Not part of the international setup, Nick Bandrak, but if he carries on scoring goals at the rate he is, at the level he's performing, you would have to say that the selectors might need to have another look.
It's hard to overlook players that can score as freely as he does, and he has all the skills.
Well, it's if you have that luxury, you must be a very fine team indeed. But there always seems to be a player in every generation that somehow the face doesn't fit, or
Yes, yeah.
their approach just doesn't fit. We mentioned, I think the other day, the free scoring Paddy Osborne in the early days of the National League back in the late 80s and early 90s.
Yes, yeah.
It was a goal machine, but got very few international opportunities, despite prolific goal scoring form with Reading.
And players emerge at different times and different ages and even different points in seasons, I think, and sometimes you have to have that in your mind. Dealing with form of players is quite important.
Good pace through the midfield here by the Bees, really powerful run. What's that come off? It's coming.
Yeah, good passing work. This is looking a little bit better for Beeston at the moment.
Beeston have a free hit given just outside the circle. Patient stuff. Holcombe pulling everybody back on into deep defensive positions.
Stephen Woods moved Ollie Willars into a more central role this week, I think, because last week trying to integrate Ollie Willars and James Aubrey back into the team, with them not having been around for matches and for training, was quite tricky.
Raking pass forward. Holcombe concede the free hit there. Gareth Griffiths just trying to pick the ball up. I'm sure Holcombe's coach Julian Halls will have emphasised to Holcombe how important it is today to start well and not concede an early goal after last week's 6-goal drubbing. They had the temerity to take the lead against
They did, yeah. I was
Surbiton.
just thinking the same. It was typical of Surbiton to be able to deal with that, though. They're a quality setup at the moment, and I don't think that goal would have phased them particularly. And particularly when you've got somebody like Alan Forsyth on song.
Yeah, 16 goals already this season for Alan Forsyth, and the promise of plenty more to come.
Yes, and they had players back out of the England's setup, didn't they? David Goodfield was playing.
Yep. Ball crashed in, took a little deflection. Ball was going up, so Holcombe will take the free hit. Towering aerial. Nick Bandrak underneath it there, looking across at the umpire, who's blown against him.
It's interesting that both Ollie Willars and Stephen Lawrence were stood within a metre of Nick Bandrak there.
Yes, well, they've obviously done their homework.
It's Gareth Griffiths on the ball. He played for the England development side against the England team on Thursday this week, I think it was. Managed to score himself a goal past George Pinner, much to his delight.
Been popular. Pinner, of course, the former Beeston goalkeeper.
Chris Proctor solid on the ball there. He's just made sure that they've kept that in the last third of the pitch.
So just over 10 minutes gone here. Still Beeston 0, Holcombe 0 is the scoreline.
Just looking at Dan Webster there, number 11, another Beeston, former Beeston player. He's done well since he went to Holcombe. He's been playing in the midfield for them, having quite an effect. Lots of noise from the benches again today, Nick. I think Stephen Woods decided to go early this week.
Yes, well, Julian Halls doesn't take much encouragement to make his voice heard. Passionate player, Julian Halls, in his playing days.
Very
primarily
definitely,
with the
yes.
old Outonians, but a passionate coach now. Wonderful to see his progress as a coach.
Of course, we've forgotten to mention David Ames as well is still registered for Holcombe. Just about to head off to India with the England side.
Yes, I'll be packing the Imodium about now, I would imagine.
Yes.
Looking for a solid performance in every respect.
I was talking to Adam Dixon about that. He says that people do suffer a bit, but he's never had any trouble.
Well,
maybe his diet wasn't very good over here.
I remember a great player with Cannock in England and Great Britain, Chris Mayer, always used to pack chocolate digestive biscuits and tomato sauce and more or less live on for the duration of a tour. Wasn't a great international traveller, was our Chris. Well, let's hope it's the hockey that we're talking about rather than the physical condition of the players.
Yes.
Once that World Cup gets underway. Beeston pulling players back and just nicking the ball away.
Good work by both teams at the moment, sort of trying to find their balance in the game, and quite a bit of turnover.
Yes, that was one of the great features of the Beeston Reading game last week. The number of unforced errors, the turnovers that were made the game rather patchy.
It did. I think Jason Lee last week had done his work and caused some frustration for Beeston. They didn't have enough space to work with, and the progressive counter-attack game that they like to play was thwarted right from the start, really.
Chase on down that left-hand side. Beeston have a free hit. Tempted turn on the ball, but presents the ball back into Holcombe possession.
A number of players like to do that sort of spin and turn themselves inside out and think they can get through to defenders, and we saw it last week with Ollie Willars trying to do that and being dispossessed. Good work from Alex Bloomfield there. That's good restart.
Space on the right-hand side.
Route 1, come on lads. That's
Lucas Ward there running into trouble. Nicely worked out there, involving Daniel Webster.
Good defensive work on that left-hand side.
Well, we've had 15 minutes play here, Steve. Neither side have really carved out any clear goal-scoring opportunities.
Not yet, no.
No
It's
penalty corners either. No,
this is the sort of space that, I was going to say, this sort of space on the right-hand side is important. Making sure that the ball is put into the D from there. Robbie Gleeson again, working well.
Oh, somehow has missed everybody. Valiant attempt to keep the ball in play down in on this near touchline, just out of play. Sideline ball to Holcombe.
It is amazing, isn't it, how often the ball can actually just roll across the D, and all those players and nobody gets on the end of it.
It is incredible. Sees just how competitive it is down there. No one given any time to dwell on the ball. This is Quinton Lemaire. That wasn't. This is Albury.
Combination of Robbie Gleeson and James Albury is looking pretty decent at the moment. They're finding a lot of possession.
Yes, I would imagine that Stephen Wood and Mark Wadsley and James McLean, looking at this Beeston performance, they will be happier than they were this time last week.
I think so.
They do seem to have got the bit between the teeth a bit more. Good pace down the right-hand side. Richard Curtis there, the Holcombe goalkeeper, called into action.
He's done well to trap that. Not the friendliest of passes. At the moment, Ollie Willard's looking much more effective from sort of the middle of the defence.
Little hand in the back. Holcombe come away down the left-hand side. Nicely stolen then again by Beeston.
Beeston will have to stay strong on the possession today, because it'll be counter-attacks and at the risk of the ball getting to Van der Ack that'll be the biggest threat, I think. If the Beeston passing game is strong and accurate, I think they can control the Holcombe attacks.
One of the smaller ball boys I've seen over on the far
Yes.
side there. If you're good enough, you're big enough. You'll grow into the bib.
Maybe one of the trainee ball boys. They've got a little set of them all training each week.
Oh, right. What a lovely idea. What a thrill.
Well in. When you're as tall as Richard Lawrence, it's quite a useful lever that he has there. He can often pick up the ball off the defence. He just has to work very hard and threaten those players on the ball. Robbie Gleeson again. You can see the movement difference between this week and last week, and it's you're talking about just one player.
Yes, completely different. Yes, I was aware there was something missing last week. I think Gleeston was the missing link, literally. Showing no ill effects of that bad back so far.
No, he seems, fingers crossed, he seems okay at the moment.
Physios have done a good job on him.
It's very useful when Adam Dixon's playing and Robbie Gleeson's playing. That is quite a formidable duo in the middle of the park. Works very well for Beeston. Obviously, doesn't happen that often, but
one of my favourite players, I have to say, Adam. I'm not allowed to have favourites, really, but
yeah.
Adam Dixon, he just seems to play the game for the right reasons and always gives you 100%.
Very, very professional, his attitude. Been hugely helpful to youngsters coming through at Beeston, with him having been here for such a long time.
Yes.
The youngsters look to him. Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, that's important. And he's playing with Club England at the moment. Of course, you still need that sort of mindset. This is promising.
Through the D again. It's good build-up play.
Just overhit there, I think, a little.
But I don't think you can overemphasise the importance of those senior players contributing to the development of the next tier of players. And when they play in their club games, it's hugely important.
Yes, so much invested coaching in the likes of Adam Dixon, the senior pros, if you like, and that investment's come from probably initially from schools, but also from clubs as well as the international scene. And giving back and passing on the knowledge is a wonderful thing. Good strong run there from young Kyle Marshall. Former Banbridge starlet, another member of the Nottingham Trent University side.
A little bit of a stalemate at the moment, I think. Each side giving as good as they're getting.
Yes, I'm sure Julian Halls, the Holcombe coach, were delighted that his team haven't conceded in the first 20 minutes or so, but you would have to say, Steve, they haven't really given their goal-scoring star, Nick Banderak, too much service.
No.
Well, the sort of form he's on, he won't need much.
Well, he's only going to have to escape with the ball once or twice, isn't he? And that's probably going to result in at least a goal, so...
Yes, the goal must seem very big to him at the moment.
He was getting a bit that way for Elliot Hybel before he injured himself again.
Good pace again coming from Beeston.
It's just this final connection, the quality of the pass.
They've got a man free in the circle there, but they couldn't link up with him.
The determination of the high players to receive the ball. All these things look so easy for the top teams, but there's a lot of work goes into those connections and situations where you can get a shot away in tight areas or when you're marked by a quality defender.
What will be the pattern for the Beeston boys over the winter break? Will they all go indoors or will they continue with some outdoor training?
A bit of both. Quite a lot of them will be playing the indoors for Beeston this year, and we've still got obviously Surbiton next week in the league. The following week we're in the cup. We've got Alton in the second round match, which is here, and Stephen Wood and Mark Wadsley will be keen to keep the practice sessions going.
And a chance to get a few of the injured players back into contention as well.
Well, maybe a bit of time spent on flexibility and movements would be quite good time well spent.
Can't pretend to you for a minute, Steve, that flexibility and movement are part of my Christmas.
Which we've squeezed into the chapel.
Little movement as possible, I'm looking forward to.
Yeah.
Beeston claiming a foot there, but the umpire not interested.
Trying to get something out of these tight areas. Chris Proctor feels that there was something worthy of a corner there, but you need to make it obvious.
Some sympathy with the umpire on this near side because the sun is very bright, which he's looking into. Holcombe making hard work of getting the ball clear, but they do so now. Good closing again by Beeston.
Working hard to try and press anything that Holcombe tries by way of an outlet.
9 minutes left in this first half, so we're still being kept waiting for the opening goal and indeed the opening penalty corner.
Despite the lack of goals, it's been quite a decent game, I think, so far. There's a lot of energy in it, which makes a difference.
A lot of energy and a lot of honest endeavour.
I think I was going to say, I think that was definitely a foot. So
umpires, I think, consulting there. It's a team game with the umpires as well as the two sides in their respective colours. It's a real scramble here.
There's a goal.
And it's come out of nothing, hasn't it, at the end?
Lucas Ward.
And Beeston have got the lead. Popped in at the far post there by Lucas Ward. How did the ball get across there?
I think it did take some kind of a deflection.
Lucas Ward!
There. I'm not sure it was a deliberate pass by Quinton Lemaire, but I think he got his stick on it and it deflected. It just ran loose.
So we've got our first goal scored there by Lucas Ward. And not there's ever a bad time to score a goal, but the timing is good in terms of the proximity to half time. Still time for Beeston to add to their lead though. Interesting to see how Holcombe react to falling behind.
Well, always these phases interest me because both sides now have got to get things right for 2 or 3 minutes to make sure that, certainly from Holcombe's point of view, that they settle again after conceding a goal, and from Beeston's point of view, that they don't overreact to having scored and cause themselves problems. So straight back into possession, quality play is very important.
You used the expression a couple of times already, Steve, in this game, but energy is clearly there today. Well, from both teams, Beeston in particular. And I think they seem to realise down there the importance of these closing minutes in the first half. The second goal could give them a really handsome lead at the break.
I can't tell you how serious the meeting was on Tuesday night between the coaches and the players. There was a bit of an open forum really for everybody to just express their disappointment about the result last weekend, just to reassert the aims and the goals for this season really.
Well, there was another meeting just prior to the game today as
There
well.
was.
They seem to have plenty to say, wouldn't it, at one point, were they going to get out in time for the warm-up, but of course they did. But it's important. I mean, there's a huge amount riding on these games. And the club invests very heavily in the infrastructure here and the whole club setup. And the players are key stakeholders in all of that, but they need to buy into the plan.
Very good sessions that Stephen Wood and Mark Wadsley run. Pretty much they are open forums. Everybody's encouraged to explain their situation and discuss things.
A bit like the cabinet, you mean?
Yes. I was thinking a little bit like the old Brian Clough days as well, and then he would tell them exactly what was going to happen after they'd had the conversations.
Yes, of course, we're firmly in Brian Clough territory here.
I think that's what
along the Brian Clough way a little later on.
I think it's one of the beers in the bar actually as well.
Oh, is it?
I think so. A pint of Brian Clough.
My goodness, that'll take some chewing over, I should think.
Mind you, the other one's Elsie Moe, so. Good ball.
Nick Bandrak coming back, helping out in defence. He's had so little service up front.
Can be frustrating for a forward if you don't feel that you're being involved.
Well, particularly if you're in the groove, and he's certainly in the groove. I don't think, despite the lack of service coming Bandrak's way, I don't think Beeston will take their attention too far away from him. Goal scorers can spring to life, even in the most unpromising situations.
It's one of the areas that the coaches had talked about, this transfer work, speed of transfer, not being so predictable as Beeston were last week, being prepared to probe passes into the midfield and towards the D at any stage. Lucas could have done a bit better with that, really. He was on the ball.
Careless ball into the circle there. Holcombe throwing it long and high. Beeston allowing the ball just to roll harmlessly over their own baseline and starting again. The Bees will be well aware that they took the lead against Reading, but then conceded the equaliser. They'll want to make sure today they can build on this this opening goal, scored by Lucas Ward. Just about 3 minutes left now in the first half.
No corners yet.
No corners.
I'm sure that'll change in the second half.
And only rare sighting so far of the free scoring Nick Bandrak as well. Beeston have to take some credit for that. They've cut off the supply of passes to him, as well as keeping a very close rein on the Holcombe forward.
James Sutcliffe doing some good work there, but I noticed Robbie Gleeson again. We keep referring to him, but there he was back with the defence. So I think he's on a bit of a mission today.
Good transfer to this right-hand side. Good early ball into the circle as well. Holcombe reacting first there to the loose ball.
Nicely won by James Sutcliffe.
It's about 90 seconds to go here.
Now they could do with turning this into a corner.
Again, it's off the foot, but outside the circle, so Bees finishing the half strongly here as we're going to the just over a minute left in the half. Pulling the ball out. Patient stuff from Beeston. Trying to work the opportunity.
Now this would be a time to put that ball into the D.
They're listening. Are you wired to these players? Almost found the space for the shot there. Long corner. Still time.
And there is still time to do similar again.
Good flat ball in. Holcombe player goes down
Unfortunate
there.
deflection, yeah.
I think it's Robbins down on his haunches there. And by just taking your time to make sure the player's fit to continue.
One of the slightly older players in the Holcombe team. Takes him a little bit longer to get up off the floor when you crash through 30, I think.
Gosh, you know, you and I will be that age one day. So don't knock it. Poor old chaps. Anyway, we've reached half time here, and Beeston have a lead. It's a narrow lead, but it could be oh so important. A fascinating game. Lucas Ward popping in the only goal of the first half. So half time here at the Nottingham Hockey Centre. Beeston 1, Holcombe 0. And we'll look back on the highlights of that first 35 minutes of play. Well, we've had 15 minutes play here, Steve. Neither side have really carved out any clear goal scoring opportunities.
Not yet, no.
No
It's
penalty corners either. No, it's a
this is the
chance
sort
on the
of
right-hand
space that,
side.
yes, I was going to say this sort of space on the right hand side.
But of course, you still
Yes.
need that sort of mindset. This is promising.
Through the D again. It's
Former Banbridge starlet, another member of the Nottingham Trent University side.
a little bit of a stalemate.
Game with the umpires as well as the two sides in their respective colours. It's a real scramble here,
There's a goal. That's
and it's come out of nothing, hasn't it, at the end?
Lucas Ward.
When you succeed,
We succeed.
So, we listen.
We tailor. And we invest in you.
We are innovators.
We deliver results.
And world-class service.
We are always developing.
Learning and growing.
And getting better at what we do.
Supporting your business.
we make technology effortless
And more than just a means to an end.
We're the team who serve.
and advise you.
All to help you achieve.
And surpass your goals.
We're super.
We're honest.
And go the extra mile.
We're winners.
And team players.
And together,
We're the managed service provider.
We're Air IT.
We're Air IT.
we're Air IT.
You're number one for IT and comms.
I played at the highest level for Holland since I was 17. First you start as a talented little girl and just go and play, and now you really have to carry the team. A lot of the media, they always write things about you, but it's not important. I know what I can do, and the people that I really care about, they always believed in me, and I've always been a fighter. Even when you think you can't go anymore, you just keep on going because of your team. My position in the field is important, but without the others, I'm no one. Speed is very important. There isn't room for error actually. It's just me, opponents and my teammates. You have to give it your all, no mercy. Every competition we play, you just want to win. When you step on the podium, it's just the best feeling in the world. It is hard to dare and dream about winning, but we know if we play well, we can beat anyone.
So the juniors in action again. Buzz the bee in the thick of it. How many we got out?
Welcome back then to the Nottingham Hockey Centre. The two sides making their way back out onto the turf. Beeston leading Holcombe by 1-0 at half-time. That goal scored by Lucas Ward. And half-time news from elsewhere. East Grinstead lead Hampstead Westminster by 3-1. So they'll be rejoicing down at St Hill if East Grinstead can see that one out. And it's Surbiton 3, Sevenoaks 1 at half-time down at Surbiton. So we're a little short on goals here, Steve, but not on entertainment.
No, I think this has been quite a good game, actually. There's very competitive. I think that the Beeston coaching staff will be quite pleased with the passing game, and we've already referred to the change that it's made having Robbie Gleeson back in there. But not just that, I think also the fact that Ollie Willars is playing for a more central defensive position, and James Aubrey on the right-hand side, a bit more balance to the team. From Holcombe's point of view, I must confess to a little bit of nervousness because it still looks like if anything runs free up front, Nick Banderak's like to pounce. So just at 1-0, as you were saying, we've got to be aware.
Yes, I'm sure the Beeston coaching staff will be delighted that Banderak's been kept relatively quiet in that first 35 minutes, but only halfway through, only half the job has been done. And as we know, with prolific goal scorers, they can come to life in a trice. So almost ready to go in the second half here, and those scorelines from elsewhere, half-time scorelines that they may be, but indicating that it looks as if Surbiton on the way to another 3-point haul, and very much in form East Grinstead look as if they're favourites to pick up the 3 points and offer down at St Hill as well, making a win for Beeston, or indeed a win for Holcombe, essential. A draw, not much use to either camp here. So Banderak, number 23 there, will get the ball moving in the second half. Julian Halls will have had a chance to assess that first 35 minutes and see what they can do to become more of an attacking force than we saw from them in the first half. First job was perhaps to shore up the defence that got such a working over last week. Banderak fires one in there, didn't want more than half a yard of space, got the shot away, caught the defender as well, a painful blow there.
I think that's hit Stephen Lawrence under the kneecap. That follow through with the stick. He's looking like he's in a bit of trouble there.
Stephen's not getting quickly back to his feet here. He obviously felt the full force. Banderak was entitled to go for it.
He was. Short backswing on the turn, and Stephen Lawrence stayed close to try to deny him any opportunity to get those powerful shots away, which worked, but unfortunately the follow-throughs hit him.
Tickets on sale, as you can see, from the FIH for the FIH Pro League at proleague.shop. Dear Santa.
Just looking what they've done with. I didn't see quite what happened to Stephen Lawrence then, as if whether he might have been substituted. I'd certainly take him off and have a look at the nature of the injury, see whether how badly he's hurt.
Walking wounded, I think.
Yeah. For the length of Stephen Lawrence's career, he's done very well actually. He's not takes care of himself, pretty fit most of the time. He hasn't had a lot of injuries.
He's a big tall boy, isn't he? So always worry about the backs with the taller players. We talked about the advantage of that reach.
Yes.
In the first half, but the downside of that, of course, is it's a long way down to the ground
yes.
as well. Although the modern hockey stick is available in different lengths. Far cry from the old days when everything came in a 36-inch standard length stick.
So the Inspector Gadget style nowadays.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like a selfie stick.
Amazing, isn't it, how something can unsettle you a little bit. The loss of Stephen Lawrence because of an injury, just a few tentative little passes going on there.
Holcombe looking to get on the front foot in these early second half exchanges as well. They'll be pleased at half-time still to have been in the game. Always difficult to know what effect such a heavy defeat will have on a side.
Yeah, there was a little bit unnerving, and you're desperate to get back into your stride, and sometimes that in itself can mean that you try and overplay. I mean, I think Holcombe have been quite balanced and organised. They don't seem too put out by the fact that they're behind at the moment, which is dangerous from Beeston's point of view. So I think the game is still finely balanced, really.
Yes, having been pegged back last week by Reading, Beeston will be taking nothing for granted in the second half here. I know there's an awful lot of hockey to be played between now and the destination of the 3 points being finally decided. Connor Kaplan missing out there with a free hit, sideline ball. Nice work down that right-hand side.
It's been picked up as well.
Circle.
Oh.
Gone in favour of the defence.
Didn't quite run free enough for either of the Beeston forwards there.
Great pickup.
Those are the crucial pickups, I think, really. That's.
It's Carl Marshall tracking back there. Very casual it looked. It's a very, very good connection on the ball.
Well, it was a lone striker for Reading last week that led to the equaliser.
Yes, something out of nothing, wasn't it, really?
It was, yeah. So,
a little bit untidy.
First
Beeston have got their first penalty corner. In fact, the first penalty corner of the game. Holcombe's number 9 there. Going across, have a word with the umpire about this one.
Was that a foot, Nick? I think it
was.
It was a foot. Yeah.
There's the Beeston huddle. Ollie Willard's up there, number 4. Looks like he might be the go-to man here. No Elliot Hybel, of course, through injury.
In previous seasons, Ollie Willars has hit from corners here, so whether they'll try that one again.
Second castle away to his right.
It's gone the
It's
other
gone
way.
to that second castle.
Tried for the deflection, but the ball travelled quicker than the player there, so Nick Park was away from that, I think. It's these little moments, I think, at 1-0 where you need to maximise the corners.
It's a dangerous scoreline, isn't it?
It is.
Yes, I'm surprised it didn't go for a straightforward shot at goal there.
Yeah, I agree. I think it would have been far better to force something out of the keeper and have an opportunity for maybe a follow-up rebound.
Or maybe with the enforced changes to the penalty corner setup through Gleghorn's non-availability and Hybel's injury, that a little lack of confidence perhaps in the Beeston camp about what they would have to describe as their A routine today, going for the options.
So inconsiderate of these players, isn't it, to be away playing international hockey. And this is where Chris Proctor's at his best, running with the ball. It's just the product at the end of his runs, I think, could be a bit better. Good cover from Robbie Gleeson.
Yes, he's certainly putting in a full shift again. Here he is again on the ball, but the whistle's gone. Defender getting into a good, strong, low position and picking that one off. Umpire wants it taking again though here.
Just need to be careful. This don't allow Holcombe to upgrade this. Well done. That's good.
Very important that for Beeston to get the ball clear. Good covering work in defence there from Dupre. Beeston trying to
corner
the space for the shot, and they get second prize here, which is the penalty corner conceded by Martin Robbins.
I thought for a moment after they'd won the ball there, Nick, that the pass might have been made to the right-hand runner. Just went a bit tight for James Aubrey to get his shot off there.
Robbins putting in the hard yards to the team, but he has to concede the penalty corner. Second in quick succession now.
Maybe they'll hit this one, Nick.
You're going for the hit?
Going for the hit, yes.
Well, I think they've got to work the goalkeeper here, certainly. Richard Curtis underneath the crossbar for Holcombe. All play back and well
tame
saved by Curtis.
A little bit too tame on the what was effectively a push.
Taken very quickly by Beeston.
Gifted skills and spins in there from James Aubrey.
Real battle of wills as well, wasn't it? A real pushing battle going on.
Ooh, almost good pressure there, but Dan Webster's got out of that well.
Beautiful take in
And the connection's been made.
Space down the left-hand side now for Holcombe. Into the circle. Beeston have got numbers back and get the ball clear. Couple of little moves there from Holcombe shows that they still consider they're still very much in this game, which of course they are, with just the one goal separating them and a long, long way still to go.
Lovely skills again from Chris Proctor to get travelled pretty much halfway down the pitch with that, but then that last little touch and move, turn the ball over, led to this pressure.
Good recovery there by Holcombe. Simon Hudgman coming out on the slide. Been a virtual spectator in the game so far, Simon Hudgman in the Beeston net. Hasn't had too much to do at all. And he'll know, of course, that if he can keep a clean sheet, then his team will have taken 3 very, very valuable points at this stage of the season against a formidable opponent.
He's very particular about keeping clean sheets, is Simon, so he'll be on his mettle for anything loose.
Sideline ball here for Beeston. James Sutcliffe feeds one down towards that baseline. Quick ball back towards the top of the circle. Keeper's gone down. Spread eagle there. Not the most convincing bit of goalkeeping, but it's kept the ball out of the net, which was the first requisite. And he gets the free hit as well.
It's 2 or 3 crucial pickups like that Beeston have made. Just worry that one might get through to the high Holcombe forwards.
Beeston allowed to carry on here. They've got the ball, but not able to keep it.
It's just opened up a little bit, hasn't it, Nick? I think there's a
has.
few signs that anything could happen here.
It's also opened up in the game down at St Hill, where we hear that East Grinstead, who led 3-1 at half time, now lead 4-3. So goals to spare down there.
They seem to like getting involved in ding-dong games, as East Grinstead do at the moment. Probably got the strongest form in the league, I think, looking at the last 4 matches.
Yes, this is always going to be a difficult season to predict, and so it is proving to be.
10 points from 12 possible for East Grinstead, which is a good haul from the last 4 games.
Well, there's still plenty of time to go in that one. Time for Hammerstead still to get something out of the game. Good day for everybody down there, apart from the goalkeepers, perhaps. Now Banderak tries the ball out from this right-hand side, but well picked off there by Beeston.
Quite a few times now, Beeston have defended well, escaped, and then turned the ball over within 2-3 passes. Creates danger like that. It's important that they get secure on the ball now and stay calm in possession. We used to talk about in little panic moments in games, stringing 5 passes together consecutively is important in helping you calm down before you turn the ball over.
Sideline ball here.
It's gone again.
coming forward. They'll be well aware that there's still plenty of time, and there will be chances for them in this game. Just got to stick to the plan, stay in the game and try and catch Beeston with an equaliser and then go on to try and win the game. Beeston looking to build on that first half goal, but
too easy to turn that over there. Nick Park could have hung on to that better.
big blast on the whistle. Green card shown there. So Beeston down to 10.
You can see these patterns emerging again, Nick, the little concerning ones. But it's that crucial phase of the game where control is all important.
Beeston with some defensive work to put in here.
Deflection.
Umpires awarded the penalty corner to Holcombe here. Umpires look as if they're consulting with each other.
I think Beeston felt that to come off a Holcombe stick rather than...
See if we can spot it again here. Well, the umpires have had a word, and as you can see from our live pictures down there, the decision has been reversed.
Right, little lesson for Beeston there. Need to settle a bit.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, they've not seen a Holcombe penalty corner in the game so far. They wouldn't want the scoreline to be 1-0 if Holcombe were to win a late one here, would they?
No.
That really would be a sucker punch.
Yeah, nice little connections there from Holcombe on the right hand side.
Just kept in. Thrown past the defender. Nicely dug out by the Bees. Good work from Richard Lawrence,
Yes,
keeping Beeston in possession.
That's better. More tidy in terms of a build-up. Now that's where it needs to be held up.
Turning the ball on the defender's foot as tidily as you like, and another rather soft penalty corner here, but all that was started by calmness on the ball from Richard Lawrence.
It was. Making those judgments in this phase of the game so important, and Richard did exactly the right thing there. He kept it for the team, and the transfer work and the progress down the right hand side led to, as you say, Nick, a very simple penalty corner win.
Holcombe's captain Alistair Bray looks away in dismay as the umpire points to the penalty corner, but he knew what was going to be meted out to him.
Now, bearing in mind what's happened in the previous two corners for Beeston, Richard Lawrence here, if he takes a corner like he did at Brooklands 2 or 3 weeks ago, that could be perfect into the bottom corner.
Richard Curtis just arranging the defenders around him. Good save from the keeper. Getting his left hand on. It wasn't going into the side netting, was it? It was
no,
much too straight. Good work from Robbins.
Another card. I think that's James Albury has been given a green card for chat, which very unhelpful at this stage.
Well, he might be listening to the words of his coach when he's across there for the next couple of minutes. As you say, not helpful to the cause. Jim Sutcliffe just absorbing a few seconds time here, running the clock down on that Albury suspension and putting the ball into high orbit. Robbins lets it bounce and past him.
Unlucky little miss there from Chris Proctor. Nice work from Lucas Ward.
Glenn Ayres plays the ball back into the defensive areas where Alistair Bray is patrolling for Holcombe. I don't want to spoil your Sunday afternoon, Steve, but this has got a Holcombe equaliser written all over it at the moment.
It's very reminiscent of last week, isn't it?
It is.
Patterns of play, opportunities. It's a better quality game, I think, than last week.
Yes, I think there have been fewer mistakes. I think there's some nerves out there as well. I think the sides are both very conscious of the tightness of the league, and everybody wants to be in that top 4. And there are about half a dozen sides vying. Now, Beeston get a second here, can they? No, they can't. Good save from Curtis.
So important that was worked a little bit harder. I think it was Lucas Ward again had a chance to score his second.
Holcombe defenders went AWOL there for a moment.
It's difficult to know exactly how to behave when you get a free ball like that in the D, but there's a little bit more that Lucas could have done, I think, rather than just automatically fire it to into the keeper. It's a big keeper.
He's a big unit.
It's to be a little bit cleverer than that, I think, to get the ball past keepers nowadays. Good ball.
Nicely worked. Beeston looking for a run down the right-hand side and played the little pass under the arm instead. Long corner this time. Quite a central position. How you can have a corner from a central position has always been beyond me, but that's where we are.
Lucas Ward seems to be causing problems for Holcombe despite being out of control of the ball most of the time.
Well, there's been a few players like that over the years who've caused great consternation, but never looked in any great control. And yet, often ended up putting the ball in the back of the opponent's net.
Yes. We had a player here for a couple of years called Brett Gilman, played at centre forward for Beeston, scored quite a lot of goals, none of them tidy.
Well, those sort of players, they're worth their weight in gold, aren't they?
Chris Proctor's skills again, now that's...
Silky stuff from Proctor. And strength to hold the ball up as well.
Bit of pressure coming from Holcombe forwards now, just stepping up their press a bit. That's where it can't be turned over.
Well, the game may not be full of goals, but it's not short on endeavour. And it's fascinating in the sense that the game is still very much there to be taken by either side. Beeston won't be relaxed at all about the situation, having not been able to add to that Lucas Ward goal.
Bit of mental strength needed now from both teams, I think.
Very much so. Holcombe have got to believe that there will still be chances. Just under 30 minutes remaining.
It's getting harder for the Beeston players to move the ball around freely because Holcombe have stepped up their tempo, just closing down players on the ball a lot quicker than they were in the first half.
The question to my mind is whether Julian Halls will invest more in attack and leave the inevitable spaces at the back for Beeston to exploit. If it stays at 1-0, he's really got to throw those dice, surely. And
I'm sure he'll do that.
Nick Park running into trouble there.
That does seem like a strange decision. I was sure that was a Beeston ball, but... Ooh.
Good work by Holcombe. Space on the left-hand side, trying to stretch that Beeston defence. Calmly done at the back. Running the ball over the sideline and out of play.
It's that bit of experience that you need in situations like this when the ball gets into the opposition's half. It needs to be held up, not turned over quickly like it was by Nick Park. It's running free, a bit free here. That's
just remind you, a win for Beeston today would see them leapfrogging over Holcombe in the league table. Umpire not endearing himself to the Beeston faithful.
Richard Lawrence again causing Holcombe player to recycle the ball, passed over to the other side, but they have got out quite nicely and it's been picked up.
And looking dangerous down that left-hand side, aren't
Yeah.
they? Rather over-egging the final ball into the circle though. Nothing wrong with ambition, but that was a little bit too ambitious there.
Bit of uncertainty there in the passing. Holcombe stepping in, trying to effectively split the pitch so there's no way out on the opposite side. This is where you need Robbie Gleeson in the middle of the park, which is he's done well there.
That's just terrific stuff from Gleeson. Good defending as well from coming from Holcombe.
I'd like to have seen Richard Lawrence get in front of his defender there. Sometimes a posting up by a leading forward is not a bad thing. The prospect of it just getting past the defender while he waited, I don't think was going to happen. Nick Parker, I think, was trying to find a foot then, but...
He's got a long corner. Second goal for Beeston would make such a difference to their demeanour. Corners apart, there have been very few goal scoring opportunities.
Yeah, absolutely tight by both defences, really conscious of the need to make sure that nobody has a lot of space. But Ali Bray in the Holcombe defence, very experienced. Great indoor player as well. Now that is a good take.
Park gets the ball moving quickly. Worked out to that right-hand side. Fired in towards the circle. Beeston worked the ball to the top of the circle. Good defensive qualities there from Martin Robbins. Very solid at the back. Now Holcombe on the attack here. Is there danger here? There is indeed. And it's that man, Nick Banderak, on the ball. He's won the penalty corner for his team here.
Now, Stephen Lawrence retreating there had the ball pretty much under control if he'd kept it for himself, but he tried to sort of dib it onto the player behind there, and that's given it away. He would have been far better, I think, protecting that and turning out with the ball. Result, corner, and who knows where that might go.
Yes, and Lawrence's body language suggests that he knows he's given his team a problem here. This is the first penalty corner of the game. There was one awarded to Holcombe earlier, but it was then reversed. So inevitably, our eyes are drawn to the number 23 shirt there of Nick Banderak. Might, of course, be a decoy. Other options are available. Only 2 of Banderak's goals this season have come from the penalty corner set piece. You don't need corners, of course, if you're scoring the open play. What's that come off? Defender stick, good save by the goalkeeper. And Banderak there with a follow-up. Thought he'd won at least a penalty corner there, but the whistle's gone in favour of Beeston. Banderak hopping away there, showing his frustration.
Well, a big left hand from
was a big left hand, important.
Simon
right
Hudgwan
well.
there. Chris Proctor again's just let that ball hit his foot. That's about 2 or 3 times that's happened.
Now 6 minutes to go. Things looking a little nervy at the back for Beeston at the moment as they hang on to that precious 1-goal advantage.
Well, this is like Groundhog Day, isn't it? This is where we were last Sunday.
Absolutely. Well, somebody once said it's deja vu all over again. Beeston will be hoping for a better outcome this week. Draws get very expensive at the business end of the table.
Now, I remember this time last week there were a few hastily taken sideline hits. That's a little bit more controlled. Opportunity to keep the ball there, lose a few minutes, a couple of minutes.
Yes, they should view last week as a rehearsal for this week, really,
Absolutely.
in some ways. Learn the lessons. Important for Beeston is that they keep all 11 players on the field in what could be a fairly tumultuous last 5 minutes or so here. Holcombe still very much in this game.
So I think Stephen Lawrence looking a bit tired, really, for me. I think a few little turnovers there that are uncharacteristic for him, and of course he's been hit on the knee as well.
Yes, that wouldn't have helped.
When you have somebody as strong and reliable as he's been, it's difficult to make a decision to substitute them.
Yes, indeed. Particularly when you're already short of the experience that
Yes.
Lawrence obviously has.
Another missed pass. I think Robbie tried the right thing there. Robbie Gleeson, he tried to make a slightly longer pass to the right-hand side, but there's space here now.
Holcombe trying to feed the ball into the circle. There's a something or nothing ball there from James Davis. Easily picked off by Beeston. We'll just waste a few more seconds here. Willard slams the ball forward. Holcombe quickly onto it.
I wonder a little bit about that long ball in this type of a situation.
Ball thrown at the top. Difficult bouncing ball, not kept in play. I thought for a moment he had done the virtually impossible. St Mason just seeing the ball bounce away and over the baseline.
Stephen Wood as loud as he's ever been now.
Holcombe making hard work of it. Can they keep the ball in play? No, they can't. Be another long corner here for Beeston.
Now they do need to think about this now. They're under 3 minutes to go in the right part of the pitch.
Chris Proctor leaves it. Quentin Lemaire takes it on.
What Stephen Wood would give to be on the pitch now after all of his time dealing with situations like this.
Beeston happy to have the ball down near that Holcombe corner flag. Off they go again. Sutcliffe. Surrounded by red shirts. And it's a sideline ball in favour of Holcombe. Free.
First thing in the mind now is work rate.
Tackett just getting too close to the defender there, not giving them the space to bring the ball down. So just over 90 seconds to go. Still, we can't with any certainty say where these 3 points are going to be going. Certainly still time for Holcombe to get 1 goal. I doubt there'll be time for 2. They would settle for 1 right now, I suspect.
Well, when Reading scored last week, we failed to set the defence. I'm hoping that they've got that right. It looks a little bit better. Now there is a chance to take the time here.
Taken rather too quickly, perhaps, for the coach's liking there, but
yep.
Commendable nonetheless. Good work by Holcombe. We're into the last minute. Beeston very close to what would be a precious 3 points here.
Well, there's only one place for this ball to go, I think now. It cannot be caught in the Beeston defensive third now. It's got to go the other end.
Trying to close the space down, trying to make it dangerous, but Beeston getting the ball away.
Number 8, Joe Sharp.
Just heard over the public address system that Joe Sharp has been given the Beeston Player of the Match award, and we've reached the end of the game. A rather timid end to things there, and the Beeston take 3 very precious points here, Steve.
Well, 1-0s we could have done with that last week, but thankfully they've seen that through this week, and I think a lot of it was to do with the presence of Robbie Gleeson in the first half. Second half, setting the defence a lot earlier. I think both sides have defended well. Strangely enough, for a 1-0, it was quite an entertaining game, I think.
Very entertaining game. 2 very committed sides there, showing why they are right at the very top of the table. The 3 points take Beeston ahead of Holcombe in the table tonight, but still a long way to go in this season of the English Hockey League. And 1 more game to come for all the teams next week before the winter break. Well, that's pretty much it from the Nottingham Hockey Centre, from Steve and I and the rest of the BTV team. But just to reiterate what we said at the start of the programme, we wish you all a very happy Christmas, and we look forward to your company back here at the Nottingham Hockey Centre in the new year 2019. Game with the umpires as well as the 2 sides in their respective colours. It's a real scramble here.
There's a goal.
And it's come out of nothing, hasn't it, at the end?
Lucas Ward.
Tickets on sale, as you can see, from the FIH for the FIH Pro League at proleague.shop. Dear Santa. Kaplan missing out there with a free hit, sideline ball. Nice work down that right-hand side.
Been picked up as well.
Circle.
Oh,
gone in favour of the defence.
Well, it was a lone striker for Reading last week that led to the equaliser.
Yes, something out of nothing, wasn't it, really?
It was, yeah. So
a little bit untidy.
And
Beeston have got their first penalty corner. In fact, the first penalty corner of.
Careful, don't allow Holcombe to upgrade this. Well done. That's good.
Very important that for Beeston to get the ball clear. Good covering work in defence there from Dupre. Beeston trying to
corner
the space for the shot. I think there's some nerves out there as well. I think the sides are both very conscious of the tightness of the league, and everybody wants to be in that top 4. And about half a dozen sides vying. Now, Beeston get a second here, can they? No, they can't. Good save from Curtis.
So important that was worked a little bit. Half needs to be held up. Not turned over quickly like it was by Nick Park. It's running free, a bit free here. That's
just remind you, a win for Beeston today would see them leapfrogging over Holcombe in the league table.